Hello, everyone. My name is Emilio, and today we're going to be talking a bit about this topic sustainable trade and tourism. First off, I want to thank my professor, Dr. Kane, for supporting me and giving us the encouraging words throughout the semester to make this presentation possible. It's the journey, not the destination. As we go through this PowerPoint, I want everyone who's watching this to keep in mind the sustainable goals that are currently being developed or are currently the projections of what we want our future to be. We have the power to create a world that is healthy and inclusive for everyone. Just to name a few that stick out to me are clean water and sanitation, life below water, and life below water. In this slide, as you can see, cruise ships do a lot of damage to the environment, and there are repercussions and impacts from these underlying issues. In this research presentation, we will be discussing environmental impacts and the functionality of trade and tourism. Catastrophic moments as this have motivated leaders around the globe to develop new concepts for cruises and airplanes. Technology will change the lens for millions of people around the globe. In addition, there will be a fluctuation in the amount of goods and services transported and fuel consumption. Those advancements are hydrogen neutral systems, cold ironing, and solar panels. These actions will promote healthier lifestyles for populations all throughout the globe. World trade and tourism needs to be thoroughly looked at and how it will evolve massively by adopting sustainability actions. Every century, there is a shift that changes the dynamic in every civilization, and it results to economic prosperity that comes from political upheaval. If we look back years ago, in 1920 through 1929, there was a rise of growth that doubled the nation's wealth. The sustainability goals are going to be the center point of direction for developing brand new practices in the global transportation industry. Hospitality companies are innovating and will prosper because of these new techniques of cold ironing, hydrogen power, and solar panels. One reason travel companies are implementing these techniques is to prevent the glaciers melting in the Arctic Circle and its opposition, the Antarctic Circle. The purpose of this study is to understand and discuss the advancements of sustainable actions that will bring change to economies and trade. I want to take a moment to kind of reflect a bit about the pause we had last year, 2020, because of this virus that occurred on many cruise lines. Now, this topic doesn't correlate with a virus. However, it does correlate with health. And the health and well-being of people all throughout the globe needs to be paramount to everything else. And so, many cruise lines and airlines have to enhance the practices that they do on a daily basis for their guests. Months after the lockdown, citizens had to reevaluate their strategy to come back better and stronger. To illustrate, Royal Caribbean, Mediterranean Shipping Company, Virgin Voyages, Carnival, and Disney assembling will be assembling their fleets to be supported by cold ironing. When ships are in port, they are idling cars that are burning plenty of fuel. Essentially, when dock ships are in port, they will connect to a grid that's going to transfer electricity and keep the ship running without the consumption of fuel. Daniela Cava was the one who signed off on this deal, and her quote is, "We're so proud that efforts to bring shore power to Port of Miami are quickly progressing." Now, for one, I am glad that this has been put in the Port of Miami and will probably be a trickle effect, which means that it's going to be in other ports as well. From all the emissions that occur at the port, there ends up being many people who get sick from the emissions. And I can't stress this enough because this leads to, heart disease, this leads to asthma, and over a long period of time, there will be implications that occur from breathing in these toxic gases which come into the cities and our communities. Now, this concept was developed by the European Union from a brand named Elemed. Since 2014, the European Union has benefited from this upgrade. This has directed to upgrade the quality of life from European policies, which are listed below, which are the Sulfur Oxide Emissions Act, the COP21 Paris Agreement, the European Union Directive 204/94 Alternative Fuel, and essentially what's happening in cold ironing, they are getting a ship to be powered from an external source and then sending that energy to a transformer. That transformer then connects the ship and empowers the ship with energy, gives the ship energy to function without having to rely on its engine, meaning that the toxic gases that go into the city will not anymore. Now, this topic is Airbus. Airbus is projected to have completely liquid hydrogen planes, which will be a solution by 2035. They hold 3 times as much energy as today's gases. The water is electrified. And there are 175 countries that signed this deal to fight global warming. The hydrogen is burned with oxygen and created into electrified water, which makes available for sustainable use. Carbon monoxide and sulfur oxide from the boats has a potential, if breathed in, to damage many people. This topic started in literature because of the demand of consumer interest to have a sustainable form of transportation. Green technologies will be accepted, and power a ship without relying on fuel. In 2021, many cruise lines and airline companies are attempting to use cleaner sources of energy. Executives will need to examine these underlying issues that are affecting the local communities from their cruise line or airline. A psychological explanation in all of these is to promote well-being, reduce infection in the respiratory systems, and have a healthier society. Most people are willing to accept these technologies because they want to live in a world with no wars over gas and more freedom to travel. Currently in Europe, they are adopting innovative technologies to refrain from using poor consumptions of fuel. There are many solutions to create a better world, as shown. Corporate social responsibility is thought and intended to be a positive influence in the workplace. This is because companies are attempting to enhance the safety protocols for all their guests and workers involved. Their anticipated results are supposed to bring about true change to create and cultivate the sustainable world that everyone is thinking of. Corporate companies need to have in mind that the well-being and health of the people that are using their goods are the most important part of the product. Now, to figure out a bit about how these executives will be leaning towards one side or another, we're going to be asking them a couple of questions. These questions are on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being most likely, would you travel on a hydrogen powered plane or cruise? And why? How do they believe this will switch? How do they believe this switch will positively and negatively affect the industry? Third, how do you believe your travel and tourism brand will utilize other energy sources at ports of call? Fourth, what source of energy do you believe is the best option of transportation? Now, for me personally, I do think that hydrogen powered ships are going to be the new wave of the cruise lines, and I think that eventually many of the other lines will follow the one who started it all. Last but not least, what are the drawbacks from using this technology? With everything, there's positive and negatives, and I do believe that overall, these sustainable actions will have a tremendous positive impact on the industry. Thank you all for watching this. These are my references, and I hope that you have enjoyed. If you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment down in the comment section, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. As always, stay safe, guys, and make a world that you want to live in.